Guys, before the video starts, I've got another channel that I've actually been doing wrestling content on. I'm uploading loads nowadays because I'm uploading on this channel and that channel. So if you want more content from me, more wrestling content, I'll leave a link to that channel in the description. Trying to hit 2,000 subscribers on it. Help me get there, give it a subscribe, and check out the videos on there. Anyway, onto this video. Remember the Nexus? Remember how awfully booked they were? You'd think WWE couldn't book a stable any worse than that, but they did, and we're talking about it today. No, we're not talking about Retribution. Maybe in 5 years time I'll have a video on them, because what a disaster, but instead we are talking about the stable that succeeded the Nexus. This is the rise and fall of the Corre in WWE. Before we get into it though, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already for more wrestling content. Only a small percentage of you watching these videos are subscribed, so do subscribe if you enjoy this video, because why not? But anyway, let's just jump into it.
Hey, this is your Olympic hero Kurt Angle, and you are watching Top 10 Wrestling. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
So let's talk about how the Corre formed and how they came to be. In 2010, NXT would come to be, but not the NXT that we know now. Instead, it was a game show and had a seasonal format. Season 1 featured Wade Barrett, David Otunga, Justin Gabriel, Daniel Bryan, Heath Slater, Darren Young, Skip Sheffield, and Michael Tarver. The winner of the show would receive a WWE contract, and this contract was won by Wade Barrett, who won the series. But on the June 7th, 2010 episode of Raw, the Nexus would debut. All the rookies from that season of NXT would jump the ring, beat up CM Punk and John Cena, beat up John Cena, destroy the ringside area, beat up the commentators, and choke Justin Roberts with his tie, but we won't talk about that one. And it was awesome. It was one of the best things we'd seen in years, and from here, these guys would wreak havoc on Raw, and genuinely, like I said, one of the most interesting and fresh things that WWE had done in years. But we all kind of know what happens next, because this is WWE we're talking about. Despite having red hot momentum, Team Nexus were defeated by Team Cena at SummerSlam in an elimination match, in which Cena comes back from a 2-on-1 to win the match, in a moment that he said himself he regrets going over. From there, the Nexus very much treaded water. Cena would be forced to join the group, he'd win the tag titles with David Otunga, then surrender them to Gabriel and Slater the next day. Then he was fired, gave a big goodbye speech just to be on TV the next week. He would literally bury Wade Barrett with chairs, and then CM Punk would take over as leader of the Nexus as Wade Barrett was exiled. Was that everything? Did I cover everything? Did I cover all ground? I think I did. But anyway, that was about the Nexus. So how did the Corre form? Well, after Wade Barrett was kicked from the Nexus, he moved to SmackDown, and CM Punk made all the existing Nexus members go through initiation to prove they were worthy of staying in the group. This was including but not limited to Michael McGillicuddy getting hit with every group member's finisher, David Otunga having to face the Big Show one-on-one, and Husky Harris being fucking lashed. But as for Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel's initiation, they were forced to hit each other with kendo sticks, but they refused this, thus essentially exiling themselves from the group. And on the January 14th edition of SmackDown, Heath Slater and Justin Gabriel would show up to help out Barrett in a match against Big Show, and they were also joined by the last ever ECW champion, Ezekiel Jackson. And on the next week of SmackDown, with an awful shirt design and an extra R for some reason, they would announce themselves as the Corre. They would feud with the Big Show, and of course at the Royal Rumble would have many a brawl with the Nexus. And their performance in the Rumble was 50-50. Gabriel was the first elimination out of all 40 in the match. Yikes. Slater was destroyed by Cena and Hornswoggle. Yikes. But Barrett and Jackson did make it to the final 8, score a couple eliminations, and Barrett himself made it to the final 4. So from here, you'd expect that the Corre and the Nexus were gonna feud. It was an easy feud, had a storyline built into it, and it just would have been a good way to establish the core and a match that is just perfect to the WrestleMania card, right? But no, instead, the core would continue feuding with the Big Show, all because they attacked him. Not the built-in storyline where Barrett wants revenge on Punk, no, the Big Show. But speaking of Barrett and the Big Show, they were both involved in the World Title Elimination Chamber match. This could be a big opportunity to really establish the core. You could have them help Barrett eliminate a few people, including Show, to get heel heat and advance the feud. Not win, but score some eliminations and look like a good heel group. But no, of course not, because Barrett was eliminated first, clean, by the Big Show. He was eliminated before Kane and before Drew McIntyre, who was a complete jobber at this time. But hey, there was some good stuff for the core on this show, as Justin Gabriel and Heath Slater will win the tag titles off Santino Marella and Vladimir Kozlov. Good stuff there. 2-time champs, and fair enough, but they would actually become 3-time champs within 24 hours, because the next night on Raw, they lost the titles to Cena and Miz of all people, before then immediately invoking their rematch clause and winning them back to become 3-time champs. What was with WWE in early 2011? CM Punk well and truly saved this company in this year. The core would continue feuding with the Big Show and also Marella and Kozlov after Elimination Chamber, and this would be their feud headed into Mania. Not the Nexus, but it would be a big win if they were to get this win. The match was set to be Big Show, Kane, Santino Marella, and Vladimir Kozlov versus Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel, Ezekiel Jackson, and Wade Barrett. However, this would be changed slightly, as Barrett would win the Intercontinental title of Kofi Kingston, who would be added to the match in place of Kozlov, who was attacked and kayfabe injured. Unlucky Kozlov not getting his Mania moment. The Great One will not be happy about that. But yes, Barrett won the IC title. As I said, the core have gold. They're doing great. They're going into WrestleMania where they're surely going to get a big win to properly cement the group then, right? It's their first ever 4-on-4 as a group. Surely they win, right? At WrestleMania 27, The Big Show, Kane, Kofi Kingston, and Santino Marella defeated the core in 1 minute and 32 seconds. Yes, 1 minute and 32 seconds. A literal squash match, the shortest match on the show, half the length of the Snooki match, and 10 times shorter than Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler. There is literally no coming back from this. This group had such a slow start to begin with, and sure, they won gold, which helps them go a bit further, but they needed to win their first big win as a team. And they've been squashed, and like I said, this was their first ever 4-on-4 and they got destroyed. So listen, I watched the match and listen to this. The core had 12 seconds of total offense. They didn't make a single tag. Heath Slater started the match and ended it. He was pinned. Nobody from the core was tagged in, and yeah, from here it was all downhill, because the one thing the core had going for them was title success, and that would soon fade. Gabriel and Slater lost the tag titles to Big Show and Kane and failed to regain them at Extreme Rules, and soon after, Ezekiel Jackson was kicked from the group and would begin feuding with Barrett for the IC title. He'd win it over the limit by DQ, thus not winning the title, but a rematch would be set for Capital Punishment. But before we could even get to Capital Punishment, Gabriel and Slater declared the dissolution of the group on the Go Home SmackDown, ending the core completely, and then at Capital Punishment, Ezekiel Jackson defeated Wade Barrett to win the IC Championship. So just like that, that's the end of the core. It lasted just under 5 months, and if you were wondering what happened with Big Zeke's IC title reign, it lasted 55 days before he lost it to Cody Rhodes, who, to be fair, had an awesome reign with that title, but the core was an absolute failure. Anyway guys, that's it for this video on the rise and fall of the core, one of the biggest failures of a stable in WWE history. Yeah, I really thought the core had potential when I was like a kid. I actually liked the shirt design as a kid, believe it or not. But yeah, that was the core. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Like and subscribe if you enjoy. What do you want to see me discuss next? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll do it if it gets a lot of likes and if the video would get views. it's honesty hour, let's be real. Anyway, like the video, podcast, second channel, all that, links down below, as well as my Twitter and Instagram. Got some cool stuff coming up starting tomorrow. I'll probably be able to talk about that soon. I will talk about it soon. It's linked to the channel, and it's going to be big for this channel, hopefully. And it'll mean more videos for this channel, actually. So, you know, we'll talk about that. But, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all soon. Goodbye, and keep on rolling.